Hello and welcome to Devolution magazine in conversation with, and today I'm in conversation with British rock royalty. We have Dave McPherson of InMe is in the house. How you doing, Dave?
I'm well, thank you. I'm okay now.
Right, so you're reissuing your first album, Overgrown Eden, through the wonderful Music for Nations in lovely vinyl gatefold formats, as well as it's added 10 extra B-sides, which we'll get into all that later. For the
hmm
purposes of this interview, I thought it'd be kind of fitting, and I discussed this with Julie at Music for Nations. I thought we'd go way back. We do the origin story here, because I
Sounds
think it's
good.
fitting. Going way back, I've got to ask, was In Me, because you were teenagers when you started, was it a high school band then?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I mean, going way back even further, me and Joe, the original bassist, the bassist for Overgrown Eden, we met on the first day of infant school when we were
Wow.
4 years old. And then fast forward, best friends, throughout infant school, junior school, primary school, went to different primary schools, still very close, kept making music together. We were already doing silly things because we were always hanging out. And just, yeah, so I think I was 13. It was July 1996 was the first
Wow.
uh, in me rehearsal, but we were called Drowned at the time.
So did you literally leave high school to go on this wild ride? Did you have to have that discussion with your teachers?
Um, I don't know if I had many discussions with any teachers. I think we were serious about it whilst we were in secondary school. Then we went to college, and it was through college we were really serious about it. Like we were rehearsing twice a week, gigging wherever we could around Essex. We were like, uh, our parents were hiring coaches, and we were filling them up and doing shows in London, just trying to do it that way. And then literally was doing A levels, the
Right.
final exams, and that as we got the record deal. So yeah,
That's
that's how that went.
so what was it like for you as as a teenager to have an album that went in the top 15? That must have been crazy.
I
That's
mean, but by the time it came out, that was in January 2003.
yeah.
I was 20.
All right.
Um, so yeah, mad. Like I've just entered the real world, and then I'm on this weird actual, oh my God, we're going to actually do music as a career. So probably, like dreamlike almost,
Yeah.
exciting, and terrifying, and too much too young. It has to be said.
Yeah, that was my next question actually, because I left school to go on tour as well with my band. And
Mhm.
I mean, I remember back then you were literally, I was living in London at the time, and your band was like ubiquitous. Your name was everywhere, and it was just like, how did you deal with being in the limelight so quickly? Because that must have been a trip, man.
um, not well, I don't think,
Right.
because I hadn't figured myself out as a person. I still haven't.
Mm.
So yeah, it was scary. But I coped. I got through
Yeah,
it.
right.
I mean, it was great, but you don't want to too much high praise. Is it's not I'm like really insecure and shy by
Mm.
nature. I am extroverted now. I don't know if that's because I've sort of learned to be that way.
Mm.
When I'm in a gig situation or in a social situation or whatever, or whenever I'm at work, I
Mm.
am extroverted, but generally I'm quite introverted. I like being quiet and on my own. So yeah, a weird a weird balance of
Yeah, man.
yeah, scary and exciting. I don't think anyone uh, adapts. I mean, it's a strange thing
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be perceived by a collective of people. That's too much for my brain. I try not to think about that.
I mean, because like little things like your stagecraft must have had to have like ramped up as well. Because one minute you're playing like to your mates and whatever, next minute you're at London Astoria back in the good old days. Playing those stages, it's like exponentially, rose. Like you were on the front cover of Kerrang like pretty early on.
All I can say is it was mad. I never took it for granted.
Mm.
I was always just like, this is mad. I mean, there's a lot of luck involved. I think we did a lot of hard work, a lot of the right time, right place, whatever. But yeah, I just remember thinking, I can't believe this has actually happened.
Mm.
I guess, and yeah, I mean, it was an amazing time. I'm not complaining for 1 second, but yeah, a lot for like
Yeah.
quite a mixed up kid growing up, quite uh, you know, isolated in my on my own in my own little mind. To be, it's a bit of a shock.
Yeah. Yeah. No
Mm.
doubt. No doubt. And obviously,
I wish maybe I would have been a bit older and prepared,
mm,
and been a bit more comfortable in my own skin before being
yeah. Yeah.
launched into the great unknown.
Definitely, definitely. And obviously the music industry was a very different beast back then. Um,
Hmm.
do you miss that music industry? Because the modern model is very different, obviously, to how I personally loved the music industry back then when we had product, actual
Yeah,
products, stuff like
yeah.
that. We weren't just t-shirt salesmen. So like what do you prefer the older model to the new model, or can you see merits in both?
Yeah, but I mean, what can you do?
Nah, it's progress, isn't
Yeah,
it?
the internet sort of came about. I mean, obviously, what long before we formed, but for like record sales were a real thing,
Mm,
especially for our first album, and then our second album. I think we were we were one band that was quite hit hard by the album leaking, and that
mm,
was the first we kind of experienced how that affects whether it was because we'd waned in popularity or whether it was because of that, who knows. But yeah, now it's just I'm unrecognizable to me.
mm, mm.
So I don't know. It just
But,
is what it is.
but you've always been quite prolific and also in the live sense as well. You did a bit of solo work as well, and you've always had this constant. with,
Hmm.
it's obviously you've had some breaks and stuff. So yeah, do you think that's really important that for any band, especially bands coming up now, is just live is where you're gonna, you know, prosper really?
I mean, I can't speak for whatever reason people are getting into music. For me, it's like my lifeblood. It always has been. I don't know whether it's because I was surrounded by it from a really young age or whether it's in my blood. It's
Mm,
magic. I don't know.
yes.
But to me, it's always been. I could not do music,
Mm,
even if it was just on a even smaller scale. But so I do. Um, like I say, I'm quite introverted and shy, but I make myself go to gigs. I make myself play because I enjoy it so much when I'm doing it. I enjoy it so much.
mm.
I feel at home when I'm at shows. Um, I love the whole process of the day. We're all working towards this show. Um, I've waffled and I've digressed and I've gone on a tangent.
No.
You're gonna have to pull me back in.
So this
I
album
got
comes.
carried away.
No, this album comes with 10 B-sides, right? And
Right.
this is something that I think I'd like you to talk me through some of your favorites out of these B-sides. We're going to get into the whole idea of B-sides because I'm quite fascinated by this because I'm in the process of writing an album myself at the moment, and we've got way
Okay.
too much material, and it's that process. So I want to know what were your favorites out of the B-sides that were on this expanded edition?
Okay, so for Overgrown Eating, the actual album, we tracked 16 songs and only 12 songs are on the album. So four of those were B-sides, two of them of which I think should have been on the album. And the label had their say, and that's what happened. And it doesn't happen like that anymore with me.
Mm.
But so yeah, there's Jealousy, Ruins. They're two favorites of mine, and they're two fan favorites, and the rest of the guys in the band. I mean, Ruins was written when I was 15 years old,
Yeah.
and I still think it's a really good song.
I was going to
So
get onto that one. Yeah.
yeah, that's a personal favorite. And so the thing with the B sides was they were from the Overgrown Eden era, but there was a lot more lax. There wasn't. It was like much more. Okay, so we can do whatever we want
Hmm.
because these are the B sides. There you go. It's not as much pressure as there was on making album tracks a success. So I guess they are, yeah, a little bit more wacky, a little bit more crazy. But yeah, it's kind of like, so I put all the 10 B-sides from all the singles together and made it a bit more of a track listing of an album in itself. So
Mm.
it's kind of like it's of that Overgrown Eden time, and it's a whole new album. So like a lot of these B-sides haven't been heard. So
That's amazing.
yeah, I think it's a
Yeah.
pretty strong.
Yeah. Getting back to Ruins, actually, as you said, you
Rude.
wrote when you were 15. And when you went back to that song, did you find yourself surprised? I find this sometimes. I find myself surprised at what you were able to do at that young age, but quite impressed, actually. You're just like, oh my God, yeah, yeah, that's a good song, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's like when you're that age, you're so full of energy and passion and drive and whatever you're doing. If you love something, you get into it crazy. Like you're well, I only speak for me. I'm obsessive with it. Um, sorry, what was I saying? So
Yeah, do you find yourself impressed with what you did back then? Like,
yeah, absolutely. Like, but it's almost like you're so young, you haven't figured out loads of how to do things yet. So
mm,
there's almost like this desperation to try and make it sound how you want, when you're not quite there yet in your understanding of the technical sides of making music and whatnot.
mm.
So yeah, I am pretty impressed with it. It could have been a lot worse, and I could be doing this 21-year anniversary to an album
Hmm.
that is unlistenable. So there you go. Yeah. Cheers,
Yeah.
cheers, little Dave.
Well, I do think at that age you've got a certain freedom because you haven't got well, you wouldn't have had a record label popping off in your ear. And you don't at that age, I don't think you don't over intellectualize everything like people of our age now making music tend to question everything and is that right? Is that when you're a kid you just blasting out and you just it's that freedom and it's
Yeah.
like, does that sound good? Yeah, okay, let's go.
Yeah, but that's quite interesting with Overgrown Eden. Is like there was that purity was maintained up until it was made. I mean, there was uh, outside influence, but for the most part, I was pretty stubborn. I call it some sort of old school form of demoitis. Once the song was written and we were playing it live, that was the song. I
Yeah.
didn't want extra overdubs. I didn't want to rip songs apart and reform them and everything like that. So there is that sort of spontaneity and sort of, or more like an outburst of its time, as
Mm,
opposed to a very well thought out album for good or bad. And that's
mm.
up to the listener, I suppose.
Absolutely. You can't fake that youthful exuberance. You can't, you can't force that. That's that lightning in a bottle. It's either there or it's not, isn't it?
Yeah, and I guess you still try and capture it, um, but then you've also got the experience behind you, and you can
Yeah,
refine
absolutely.
things. But yeah, you can hear the chippiness in
Mm.
in the song.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So like getting back to things like B-sides and that stuff, do you find it difficult even now when making an album deciding which ones make the cut? Is it like picking your favorite kids?
Yeah, it's quite easy with the band where we are these
Mm,
days. We just all seem to understand and respect each other's opinions and try not to get too precious. But we also, I guess, understand when someone's quite attached to something, and there's a lot of push and pull and give and take. But it's pretty easy, to be honest. I guess if we all agree something's good, then it's at least good to us five. So
boom.
um, yeah. Sorry, I've literally digressed again, and I've lost the
No, no,
train of
it's
thought.
great. We got to
It's been a
it.
mad few days.
I can imagine. I can imagine. So you're embarking on a UK tour in November. Is
Yeah.
this to play the album in full, or is this going to be a mixture of stuff?
No, well, we did that last year. We
Mm,
played Manchester, London. We played Takedown Festival in Portsmouth. Um, so this time we were like, well, we will do a lot of the album,
mm,
but to be honest, like I there's a couple songs in the album I'd rather not play it over
fair play.
some other material of ours. So we're doing. 9 songs from the Overgrown Eden era. That includes 2 B-sides, with the ones I mentioned, Jealousy and
Mhm.
Ruins. We're playing just like, you know, the sing-alongs from all the albums, the
Mm.
a couple deep cuts, and then we also kind of want to lead into new music because we're a
Mhm.
current band and we want to go into 2025,
Mm.
not become a nostalgia act.
No.
So obviously that our first album, Overgrown Eden, our next album's called Demons. So we were hyper clever and we put them together, and it's the Overgrown Demons tour. So it's the old and then moving into the new, and then next year we do a new album tour, that sort of thing. So
So
we'll be playing a few songs from that as well.
do you think it was important on your 21st anniversary of the first album, just draw a line under that and it's a new album next year? Boom. Yeah.
It wasn't quite like that. We were just approached to do
Right.
it as well. So it's us looking at the situations and tying them all together. So it looks like we've got somewhat of a plan.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, because you've got quite the like I say, you're very prolific, so you've got quite the back catalogue to choose from when it comes to
Yeah,
doing it, when it
yeah,
comes
it's
to
very
gig
fun.
gigging.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
mix
we're
it up
doing
a
it.
lot?
Sorry, go
Do you
on.
mix it up a lot? Like, some bands like change their set lists all the time and all that.
We don't. We're not that sort of band. We're the way we play and the way we do things, certain things, like the way we play the songs. So there's only so much time as well. We've got 5 people in the band with different careers and whatnot. It's and they're dotted around the country. So, but we are doing a 20-song set list, and it
Mhm.
is like the best set list we've ever made. But
Cool.
yeah, we don't we wouldn't just on a whim play a song that we haven't played in 3 years, because that's just not what we want to represent us, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
We
man.
want to be on it. We don't want to be having a car crash halfway through a song when we play different songs or whatever.
Right. So
Yeah,
you've got the follow-up brand new album called Demons, as we've mentioned. Can you give us
yeah.
any hints as to where you're going on this record?
I just think we're, we're trying to make the album of our lives, essentially. So we've
Right.
been working
Yeah.
on this for 5 years for one reason or another. Um, like a lot of painful stuff in our personal lives over
Mm,
those 5 years, but just literally working on it. And we've all
mm,
been through quite a lot of stuff. And it's led to, yeah, we've finally got these 12 songs. And like you say, songs have been let go, and it's fine because we all sort of just wanted to make the best possible album we can. So we're there now and we're tracking it. But I'd say, yeah, everything, this sounds like high praise
mm,
from someone who made it, telling people who haven't heard it. But
mm.
I'd say all the things you love about all the previous albums, and then, yeah, just a heightened sense of,
Yeah,
uh, yeah, musicianship, songwriting, and the lyrics as well. I'm really, really proud. It's just
absolutely.
it's a good way to express the last 5 years.
Absolutely. I think certainly at this point in your career, it's really important for musicians just to make the album they want to hear because
Yeah,
you've got to be a fan of your record. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
My main thing. I want other people to enjoy it. I want to
Yeah.
connect, and God knows, I want to be remembered. But I want it to be my favorite album.
Yeah.
And I know the way it's going at the moment, I'm going to be listening to this on repeat. And that's the problem. I'll listen to it too much, and then I'll be like, "Oh no, I've killed the bloody album I was supposed to." That's supposed to be my favorite album of all time, and I've listened to it too much. So yeah, that's where I'm at with the album. Really excited.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, um,
it's a slow, painful. You have to, the patience is. Whew, you have no choice but to be patient. But yeah, it's like a never-ending thing, and then we will get there, and
yeah.
it will be worth it.
I always think some of the in fact, the best albums in my, top 10 or whatever were albums that weren't instant for me. I had to work with them and then they get into your pores and they ends up being the best thing ever. And they're the ones that I think are the best, the
Yeah,
ones
yeah,
that
yeah.
challenge you a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I like that. Like we just me and Gaz, we just went to see Beartooth
Oh yeah.
at Ali Pali on Saturday, and watched the opening acts. Polaris were great, and I hadn't seen or heard Landmarks before. I don't
Oh,
even know if
Lambert's
I'm
great.
saying. and I was just blown away. So, and I didn't know that was what I was looking for,
Yeah.
and now I can't stop listening to it. And it's
Uh,
just unstoppable energy.
yeah, yeah, some Parisian
Yeah, I
hip
love
hop
it. I love it.
vibe.
It's really fun.
Yeah, well,
I wouldn't want to be that guy on stage. You'd
oh,
probably have to take me to hospital.
oh, they're incredible. Yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah, so yeah, what are the plans after Demons then? Is it festivals next year maybe?
We're just going to try and push the album as much as possible and get out there. I have my plan in my head, and this is never the way it goes.
Hmm.
Would be to do like a spring, do a single release, do like a smaller tour, and then do festivals as much as possible. Also, see what comes in. Like
Hmm.
if we get offered a really cool support slot, we'll definitely be up for things like that.
Hmm.
And then maybe in autumn, sort of early winter, do
Hmm.
another bigger tour. Maybe like a Demons tour. This is just me
Wicked.
running ideas out of my brain. But also, it'll be the 20th anniversary of our second album,
Hmm.
White Butterfly. So
Hmm.
who knows? Might
Yeah,
do like a Butterfly Demons tour. Who knows? Just ideas. But all I know is we'll be busy and we'll be
that's amazing.
making the best music we've ever made. Hopefully.
Absolutely. And now, one thing I'm always asking as we get to the end of the interviews is I always say, who are you listening to right now? I mean, you've just mentioned Landmarks,
Yeah.
but anything else we should be watching out for? Anything that's caught your ears?
Okay. So it's about the last year. Well, maybe less than a year, but I've just been listening to cinematic music,
Hmm.
really like just walking my day-to-day life. I listen to a lot. I'll get onto bands, but yeah, I just listen to stuff from movies, like
Nice.
big epic scores, sad scores. I don't know why. That's just I don't know. It's because there's no lyrics, so I'm not focusing on words, and I'm
Hmm.
just it's a clear way for me to have a walk. And
Hmm.
you can put on triumphant music when you're feeling like you need a pick me up. You can put on some deep thing when you're feeling, but yeah, like I say, Landmarks, Polaris, Beartooth, this band. This is where I'll forget every single band I'm currently listening to. Uh, I really like I Prevail's True Power album.
Hmm.
I think that's from 2022. I really like the new Nightwish album. I've been listening to that. That ties in with me loving the cinematic film
That's very
score.
cinematic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's massive. I really like Bill Murray. I'm obsessed.
Oh yeah,
My whole summer was Bill Murray.
mate,
Um,
I've just discovered them.
yeah, man, you're not gonna be able to put it down.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's good vibes music, and
yeah.
it's really good music as well. And it's got thick, heavy riffs,
Mm,
and it's got sort of the multi-genre thing, which is really fun. And he's
yeah.
just got a lovely, great voice,
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, I will delve deeper on that one.
dude.
Right. So, is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we sign off?
Anyone watching this, anyone sticking with me through the dark times, through the hard times, here we are. Thank you. Yeah, cheers for supporting our music because like it's hard to say how much that means a lot without sounding cheesy. So yeah, it means a lot,
Fair
like
play.
an epic amount.
And before I go, I'm from Southend. Where in Essex are you from?
I spent most of my life growing up and living in Brentwood,
Ah,
but I've lived in all sorts of spots, good or bad, around Essex, Chelmsford, Romford,
yeah,
um, and but I've lived in Brighton for the last 5 years.
lovely,
Yeah,
lovely, lovely.
so yeah, just a guy walking around Brighton with an Essex accent.
Big up.
Can't lose it. Can't lose it.
Right, mate. Well, thank you so much for talking to me today, Dave. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You
Best
too,
of luck
George.
with the reissue, with the new album and the tour.
Thanks, man.
Take care, brother.
See you at a show.
See you soon. Bye
Take
bye.
care, man.